So for this meditation, we want to do a short focus on the breath. The breath is a good focal point as it is one of the few body functions in which we both have voluntary and involuntary control. In meditating, we want to strive towards a place in which we can be aware and present and yet detached, that we allow those things around us to flow as freely as they should. And this is something that we exercise over and over again between paying attention to what is happening in our breath and what distractions are coming up in our mind. And so throughout any meditation that we are doing, the process repeatedly is paying attention to our breath and where we are feeling that, and then recognizing that our mind has moved away and we're thinking about the past or the future, that we're making plans or organizing things. And the moment we recognize that, we are bringing ourselves back to the breath. It's the very activity of exercising the mind to work towards a selective focus on the breath. Too often, we find that we can be distracted and our mind is pulled away from whatever we want to focus on, and that easily triggers emotions that draw us in even more. So, to that end, the more we can work on practicing in times where we are not exceptionally stressed or overwhelmed, that we can deliberately make a choice to bring our minds back to something we want to focus on, and in this case, the breath, that we develop greater and greater strength and ability to be able to do this in any other context. And just like physical exercise, it takes repetition, it takes practice. And doing this very activity could be the totality of one's meditation practice for their entire life. To just take moments of quietude and pay attention to inhalation and exhalation and recognize when the mind has wandered off and gently bringing the mind back to the breath and letting go of those thoughts and proceeding with paying attention to the breath. So, to do this, find yourself a place where you can have fewer distractions and engage in a posture that you find both comfortable and yet one in which you can be as alert as possible. We want the brain to be as awake as we can while we are engaging this. So that may be sitting up in a chair, that may be cross-legged on the ground, that may be lying down. Whatever you find can be comfortable and yet alert and peaceful. And as you're in that position, just allow yourself to let go, whatever that may mean in your mind, to take some deep breaths and exhale and let go. That's the other fascinating part of the breath, in that taking a breath in is an active process in which muscles have to tense and stretch the chest wall out. And then when we exhale, we let go. We exhale and the muscles relax. And as we breathe out, the chest wall relaxes and closes back down and exhales the breath out. So physically, we are engaged in this process of bringing in on the inhale and then letting go. And so you bring this air in and then you let it go. And we're doing the same thing with our thoughts. The thoughts may come and they'll be there. And when we recognize that, we let them go. And we come back to the breath. And feeling where that breath comes into the body, if we're noticing that through our nostrils, or if we see that in the back of the throat, or if it's inside the chest, the air may be cool, there may be a tickle inside the nostrils, and that sensation may change. And we're just being aware of that. Just being aware of this process of taking our breath in, stretching those muscles out in the lungs, and then letting go. And letting that breath out. And letting the body relax as the breath exits the body. Being aware of that process of drawing in the breath, feeling where that may be, and then letting it go. And as you get into a rhythm of that, your mind may wander off. That's what our brains do. Our brain thinks, and so thoughts will come. And once we recognize that those thoughts are there, that perhaps we missed a breath or two, or maybe more, that we just gently bring our mind back to that inhalation and the letting go of the breath. And we'll do this over and over again in exercising our mind to come back to paying attention to something we are making a choice to be aware of, something right here in the present moment, our inhalation and our exhalation. We can't really think about our breath 5 breaths ago. We can't really imagine our breath 2 minutes from now. It's our breath right now. It's what we're feeling as we take a breath in and then let it go. And we just repeat this, taking a breath in and letting it go. And allow yourself to do this over a number of breaths. You may find your mind wandering off again, and that's okay. Our minds are going to wander, and we just bring them back. Paying attention to that inhalation and that exhalation. And we can keep this up as long as we choose. You can do this to someone else guiding you through the process, or you can do this just setting a timer. Inhaling and exhaling. And after a moment, as we come to the end, you can just gradually pay attention a little more to the things around you. Open your eyes, maybe even stretch a little bit. And just remember that you can pause at any time and just draw your mind into that breath, inhaling and exhaling.